Welcome back. Well, yes, we'll be talking about those forthcoming elections. We've got Issa Aremu who, well, Ms. Aremu, first of all, thank you for joining us this morning, but we need some clarification from you. We know you used to be former vice president of Nigeria Labour Congress, but we also know your foray into politics, Labour Party, then we understand you eventually went on to the APC after trying to vie for the governorship ticket via Labour Party in Kwara. So what is the situation at the moment? Are you still with the APC now?
No, I've never been with APC Chambali.
Oh, okay.
I remain a member of Labour Party. And of course, you also know that I have multiple identities. I'm also vice president of Industrial Global Union.
So I wonder which of the identity we're going to use this morning.
Yeah, but anyone you want to take, former vice president of NSC and also former Labour.
We've heard some perspective, some materials from you about these two elections. INEC has released the guideline, how they're going to go about these elections. I mean, already we've seen preparation in top gear on the part of the political parties, what they intend to do. But you don't think that these elections should proceed, do you?
Yeah, Chambali, well, I'm not in a position to ask you questions, but I've been in a position to listen to you all the time, including this morning, and you are all doing a good job. Three of you are listening to your first remark, from Moepe in Abuja to yourself, and my very good friend together with you in Lagos. I mean, you've been agonizing about the spread of this virus. The figure today is that the whole world will have reached, 500,000 mark of deaths. You also said as much that we're having a huge spike. The rate of inflation is higher, far higher than the recovery. The last time, that was sometime last week, the chairman of the Presidential Task Force was very explicit. He raised an alarm that very soon we'll be going to graves in hundreds. High-profile deaths, the latest being the former governor of Oyo State, my very good friend, Senator Ajimabi, who died of the complication arising from COVID-19. So, Chambali, you are making the point every day. This is real. We're in trouble. A dry cough is now the trumpeter of death everywhere. And back to the numbers in the state, maybe the immediate one, September 19, I hope I got it right for Edo elections. Infection rate is almost 1,000 now. The rate of recovery is far, far less than the rate of infections. The death mark is getting close to 40, if not 50 now. So we have said that we're in a state of war. Does it make sense that we conduct elections? If we are talking of new normal, I think we need to change. And let me also leave you with this thought, if you check the 1999 Constitution, the Constitution mentions the right to life 18 times, health and safety 18 times. Find out how many times we talk of elections. Elections are just the means, they are not the end. Life is the end. So we cannot, there's a disconnect between the sermon from the rooftop every day, from Presidential Task Force that we're having a war in our hand, and then we're behaving as if business as usual. So
But comrade, don't leave yet. I think we'll still have a few more minutes. Have you seen the INEC's COVID-19 protocol? They are mindful of all of these things, and they came up with that guideline to ensure that they don't put anyone in harm's way, and that's how they intend to conduct this election. So in spite of that, you think that, no, that wouldn't work?
Yeah, but this is not an academic issue. It's not about policy guideline. We're talking about lives, and they are all practical. In the long run, in fact, in the short run, we seem to have all dead if we don't really follow certain basic rules. Chambali, as I'm talking to you now, also check, there are 16 countries that have postponed elections, various kinds of elections, local elections, provincial elections in Austria, in Bangladesh, country of our size, also facing the same challenge, the postponed election in Zimbabwe, in Canada, British Caledonia, just postponed election indefinitely.
Well, at the same time, there are countries that also conducted elections and have also declared winner, and some of them presidents.
Nicely. I mean, the choice, Chamberlain, the choice, Chamberlain, the choice is ours. I mean, Burundi conducted elections, and after the elections, the president that conducted the election died of complications arising from COVID. I mean, what is election for? But what I'm even saying is that let's be driven by our own logic. I think only the living can vote and be voted for. And I'm raising this point because it's important for us to have a pause about the way we do business as usual. I don't want to go into the dynamics of the elections, but it has been a lot of complications, of crises. The former candidate has moved to the new party. All the two candidates have swapped positions. I mean, it's all part of the desperation under the condition that we're holding the elections. But the point I'm raising is that I had the privilege of watching the primaries of the parties, and I've seen a lot of movement going on. We're yet to see the campaigns. What I've seen so far, those protocols have not been observed. They have been observed more in the breach. Very few are putting on nose masks. Social distancing is not there. So we need to ask ourselves, what is governance all about? Nigerian Constitution says it's all about security and welfare of our citizens. And I think INEC is time to really be proactive and guide us very well. The spokesman for INEC, Festus Okoye, he says so categorically, we are moving to uncharted waters. He says so, in spite of the policy on COVID that they've launched. Now, uncharted water, and even that one, I don't think it's even been fair. The water for COVID is already, we have passed through it. You know the figures. The figures are rising. People are dying. Brazil, which is of our population, had lost close to almost about 55,000 people to that. Infection rate has moved into millions, The same thing with Bangladesh. So you can't say, with respect to COVID, we're already chatted, we are tested. Now the choice is ours to know that we walk the talk. On the one hand, you can't be talking of the need to preserve life when we are moving into...
Mr. Aremu, the choices are definitely ours, and I think just as you and Chamberlain have just conversed now, there are countries that have postponed elections, and there are countries that have held elections. You cited Burundi. Well, another one is South Korea, where they had the elections, and the protocols were effectively observed, even while they were at the peak. And today, the figures in their countries say that they have dropped the figures seriously. So doesn't the responsibility of conducting the elections, fall to us as a people? The protocols, abiding by the protocols, fall to us as a people. If we are able to abide by the protocols, do you still think, it's okay for us to go on or to still call off the elections?
No, I think you are still talking of if. I mean, let's be practical here. Let's look at what is on the number. We have not been able to enforce the protocol in the market. We have not been able to enforce the protocol in public vehicles, public transportation. We have not been able to enforce the protocol even in government houses. I mean, you just had the story in Delta. You know what has happened there. We have not been able to enforce protocol in cemeteries. Is it when you are going to have a chaotic situation at elections, which even with the best of time, elections are always marked with rowdiness, with violence, and of course, Edo has a tested record of that. The same thing, So what I'm saying is that it's not hypothetical, it is real. But as I said, the choice is ours, but I strongly believe that if we go by the spirit of the Constitution, which talks about the need for security and welfare of citizens, it talks about public health and safety, there is enough within our Constitution, outside, far ahead of electoral law, to say that this election should be postponed with the best global practices. Again, Section 23 of the Constitution, which deals with fundamental principles of state policy, also talk of our ethics, national ethics, which we again will obey more in the breach. It's about discipline, the need for integrity of policy, the need for coordination of all the agencies. So we cannot be agonizing every day that the spike is on the increase when we know what leads to it. We know very well that People cannot maintain social distancing, and yet we are going into a more chaotic atmosphere of running primaries and running elections. And let me tell you, on the last note, let me also say we are not short of governors in this country. What we are short of is governance, and this is a test of governance. To postpone elections, to produce another governor who have never shown us what is their plan to moderate the rate of infections. All the candidates, I haven't had them debating or saying they are leading to reduce the rate of infection. They haven't talked of how they are going to enhance public health, which has already been stressed. And then, if the whole idea of election is to create more jobs for new set of governors, that is completely not the spirit of the Constitution.
But Mr. Aremu, you've referenced the Constitution a number of times, but you also know that the Constitution makes provisions for the number of days, minimum or maximum, within which elections must be conducted for certain specific offices in the land. Don't you see a constitutional crisis if the elections do not hold within those periods?
Yeah, well, I don't see a crisis. I see a challenge, and if there's a will, there'll be the way. There are many things that are not contained in the Constitution. The Constitution never imagined there will be a virus known as COVID-19 that will set the whole world packing. There will be a COVID in which we all quickly have to knock down. There won't be a COVID where we are talking of first wave, second wave, in which possibly we are even talking of another lockdown. Now, I think if we can apply, you know better than me, doctrines of necessity on a couple of issues, more than ever before, I think it's necessary now for us to save lives, because only those who live will vote. Only those who live will be voted for. And the best tribute you can have to those who have died, both low and high, is to pause a little bit and wonder that between now and September, how many of us want to be alive to vote or be voted for? I've just referred to, very well, we lost a chief of staff at the federal level. We lost a deputy chairman of a ruling party. I don't think, as of 2 weeks ago, everybody thought he would be part of the elections in the two states. But now he's nowhere to be found. I think all our posthumous tributes, and comments, we just amount to crocodile tears. If we cannot pause a bit and say, wait a bit, this pandemic, an injury to one is an injury to all, and that we need to really lower the rate of infection. And many countries of our level, they are already doing that. It's about choice. America says...
Yeah, clearly INEC is confident to an extent that they can conduct these elections in the COVID-19 context. In fact, there's this proposal to have elections as what's that term again? To have them as essential services. But, we just showed you some pictures from the recently conducted primaries in Edo State. And I think they will give us an insight into what to expect when the elections happen come September and October in Edo and Ondo State. So if we could just do a quick review, what you saw during those primaries, did it give you confidence that maybe we can just pull this off? Mr. Aremu, if you can hear me, I'm referring to the primary elections we just concluded in Edo State. And the question is, seeing what played out, do you think it gives an insight into what to expect come September and October? Okay.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah. Ahead.
Yeah, I'm hearing you very well. I've watched the tape. Of course, there are other areas of those primaries that possibly you may not be able to capture. But let me take the one you have captured. What I'm saying is that does it worth it that we have to be agonizing with face masks, with possible social distancing just to have a vote? Then the second question I also want to ask is that what has been the rate of infection since that primary you have seen and now? Definitely the figures are not coming down. On the contrary, infection rate is going up. There has been it. And that's for those tested in Edo State.
Why? Okay, I hope you can still hear us. Why is your call coming now after the APC NEC meeting? Why didn't it come earlier?
Oh, better late than never. I mean, Chambale, better late than never. You know that this is work in progress. I've made a lot of comments on COVID several times. Let me give you an example. I'm also the Vice President of Industrial Global Union. I've been elected, and we are due to have our Congress, another election coming up in October this year. That's what was slated for. We just met, we did virtual meetings about 3 weeks ago to put off this election until September next year, because the risk analysis shows that the figures are rising. We are losing workers. You also know my union, we had to struggle to see how we can postpone our Congress. After that, we've lost a very prominent person within our union arising from compilation of COVID. So I've always been making this noise. I've been saying so. But I thought INEC responsibility is to make the point that we're having elections without going to the mortuaries, without going to cemeteries. And the PTF must be able to wake up to do their job. All we can do is to assist them to do so. Don't forget,
that's definitely something to consider. But what you referred to, the agony of wearing face masks and what have you. So if we were to rely or just, look at that agony, then maybe we should just, suspend life as we know it, because people have to go to works, they have to wear those face masks and endure that agony. So do you still think that's enough reason? Because people will tell you, no problem, I'll wear my face mask, ensure physical distancing, and just go through this process.
When you talk of we should suspend life, but we've suspended some life. You know very well that we have been told, if you have nothing doing outside, stay indoor. Of course, we also know that there are essential services now that have been defined. We locked down some states, as the case may be. As I'm talking to you now, we've suspended knowledge, we've suspended education. It's not yet clear. And when are we going to reopen schools? I mean, even when we're in schools, almost 15 million children are out of schools. Now, there's a threat of illiteracy to preserve life, because only the children that are alive can learn. I mean, if we can...
Comrade, tell us, since you've been thinking about this for a while, what did you come up with in terms of when do you think we can then hold the elections? Because, the world over, no one knows when COVID is going to eventually end.
Yeah, but first, the point I'm raising is that between knowledge and looking for what to eat and election is a luxury. Just to give job to 2 governors, and their deputies, it's a luxury. But Chambale, I don't have a concrete answer. For as long as the number is rising, we need to pause a little bit, suspend elections. When the figure is coming down and we're on top of the issues, we've done enough testing, there's assurances that there is no stress on public health, then INEC can open the discussion, for
as you may know or may agree, if you haven't thought about it properly, why should we run with it if it's not well thought out?
What do you mean it's not well thought out? I mean, wait.
Who figured it out yet?
It's debatable whether what we are doing now is well thought out. It's not well thought out at all.
Talking about your call to postpone or cancel the elections. What are the alternatives? When do you think we can then hold it? When will COVID end? So if you haven't figured all of those out, are we just supposed to suspend it now? Then when we get to the bridge, you cross it?
I've given you practical solution. I've told you in my global union meeting, based on risk analysis, what we've agreed upon is that until September next year, when the second wave must have subsided. Again, ILO has put off his annual conferences, very unprecedented. It won't come up until next year. Again, with a caveat that if the rate of infection is increasing, nobody will go to Geneva to hold any meeting. The same principle should apply everywhere. I've told you Bangladesh, they put off election in many states. Canada, they've done so indefinitely.
All right, comrade, we need to end at this point. We do thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.